What's up, everybody? Today on the RH podcast, we have the Ronnie and Bonnie Show. Bonnie Belfi, Ronnie Haskins. We're going to talk about everything cars and financial issues with cars, right, Bonnie?
Yeah. Financial issues are a big part of buying a car. We don't always think about it that way. They usually try to sell you on things that are exciting and new and things that you fall in love with, but it's a very big financial issue.
Well, we had an article in the Automotive News magazine that was talking about the rise of the $1,000 car payment.
hmm
And you
Yeah.
did some research for us, and we're going to talk about it today. Doesn't mean you're going to get a $1,000 car payment.
No.
However, it is becoming more of a norm.
Yeah. Car prices have changed over the years. Interest rates have changed. And there was another factor in the magazine that I can't remember what it was right now, but that is all part of what's happening. Car prices, car payments have gone up.
So in this Automotive News article, it says the rise of the $1,000 car payment. 17% of auto loans have these steep monthly bills. That's what it says, Bonnie.
hmm That is what it says. And we've had people with $1,100 car payments. It's often for a luxury car,
Yes.
but they do exist.
And most of the time it's for bigger vehicles like big trucks,
SUVs, big SUVs.
big SUVs, big diesel trucks. Those vehicles have just skyrocketed over the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, they have gotten more expensive. Certainly during COVID, everything changed. I want to explain what happened during COVID.
During COVID, what we had was a supply chain problem. So you realize we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't move. They shut down everything. And so that dried up the supply chain for the vehicles that were on the ground because Americans were still driving. Not everybody was essential. They had to go to work. And so they were still driving, cars were still breaking down, they still had to get vehicles. But when they needed to replace those vehicles, 300 million of us, the supply chain had dried up, which drove the prices through the roof.
Yeah, and not just the new cars. What would happen is perhaps somebody, say, wanted to buy a new Toyota RAV4. Well, you couldn't get a new Toyota RAV4. So what do? You go to the used
You
market.
get a used one, but you paid just as much as you were going to pay for the new
Because
car.
everybody was doing the same thing. And so, of course, supply and demand are related. So the more demand there was and the lower the supply there was, the more expensive it got. And this averaged out, it smoothed out over time, but it didn't go away entirely. The new car prices did not come down. I'm trying to remember if the used car prices did.
No,
You know?
I don't think so. I don't have the market index in front of me, but I don't think they went down. I think
No.
they kind of stabilized as far as they aren't as high as they were in COVID, as far as, what the average price is versus what they're selling for was a wide gap during COVID, but now it's more normalized.
Yeah, you can get cars again. So the prices are not all over the place either because the manufacturers are making the cars. So now if you want a RAV4, you can just come to us. We can get you a new one. In those days, though, it was a real challenge. I remember trying to sell. A lot of people wanted to buy a Lexus NX350. For some reason, that was just the car of the year. It was pretty and people really liked it. Could not get a new one. And then I'd go to try to sell a used one and people would complain because it would be the same price, maybe more than a new one because they just weren't available.
And then you can have it right now.
Mhm.
So, what's interesting is we always hear people talk about, I can't believe the prices are so high. And people will say that to me. They'll say,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
I can't believe the car prices are so high. And I'm honestly going to tell you today that I feel like the prices are just normal.
Well, we
Maybe
sell it
because
all
we're
the
in
time.
it.
Yeah, we're in it all the time. But if you think about it, like do you remember what your first car cost? Your first new car?
I spent $2,500 on a 1987 Honda Accord.
Was it a new Honda Accord?
No,
27?
oh
No,
no, this thing was beat up and it was fun for me, but it was $2,500. I bought it from a
$2,500.
friend.
Yeah, you can't get a $2,500 car now that runs.
Right.
And my first car was a 1989 Toyota. It was this little Toyota Tercel. It was a Toyota Tercel. You know how much it costs?
How much?
It was brand new, $6,000.
You didn't change much. You went to a Prius and now you're in an electric car.
Yeah, I really like Toyotas. But in 1985, the average new car price was $9,000. And the interesting bit of data that I have here is that would now in today's dollars be $28,000. So you can still get a car for $28,000, but it's a lot more than $9,000, even though it's the same amount. It's just
definitely
adjusted.
changed. And no different than houses. My parents paid $19,000 for this 2,000 square foot home that was all brick with a quarter acre lot. Like it was a lot of space and it was wonderful, but that house is a lot more money now.
But do you know what the average salary was in 1980,
That's the thing.
1975? Yeah, in 1975, the median family income, so that's to say there's half are above and half are below the median, was $13,720.
That's crazy low.
Yeah,
Has inflation, I know everything goes up, right?
right.
Have wages gone up to match?
Have they gone up to match? That's a
Do you
good
have any data on
question.
that?
I have data uh, on average salaries versus car prices.
Let's just Google it. Since 1970, it says here nominal wages have risen, but the real purchase power of those wages has grown very slowly. So how much that dollar will go has just grown a lot slower than actual inflation.
Yeah, I did see that. Well, I was comparing the, so you have to think about the average income, like per person,
Mm-hmm.
versus the average family income, which is a little bit different because in 1975, a lot of families had just one wage earner. And that person might have been earning about $13,000, $14,000 a year, and that was enough to maintain the household. Today, you might have two wage earners, and that average, the median, that's again, this is the median, half above, half below, household income in 2024 was $83,730. So it has not kept up. That is
Each
true.
person makes 83,000?
No, this is the
That's the
total, the
household.
median household income. That whereas the median income, let me see here, the median salary for one person is 62,000 a year.
You've got some data though about how much a car costs today, how much of your income that is, the percentage. What's the percentage
Yeah,
on that?
this was very interesting. Let's see, mean family income and car prices. So the mean is the average, which is a little different from the median. But in 1975, the mean family income was 15,700, and the average new car price was about $5,000. So that was 31, 32% of the mean of the family income. So
Well,
you
yeah.
would buy the car and it would be about 32% of your income that year. Now you'd pay it off in a loan and everything, but today it really hasn't gone up that much. In 1995, it was 40%, but in 2025,
It's gone down?
it's gone down back down to 36%,
So
maybe
it's all
37.
relative.
It's all
So back
relative,
then,
yeah.
if I made $13,500 and I had to pay, I was like, I was saying the same thing then, right?
Hmm.
I cannot believe that a car costs $4,950, $4,950.
Right, right,
That's 30% of my salary.
right.
And so we're saying that that's what's going on now, even though people are making what?
People are they're making multiple times more. Here, the mean family income in 2025 is 135,700. So more than $100,000 a year, but the average new car price is $50,000.
So it's about 30 something percent of your income. This video is not designed to try to sell you cars or to talk you into why you should be buying $50,000 cars from us. We're just trying to make sense of it because we hear it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, the prices are high, car prices are going up. And I'm always like, are they? They just basically are rising like they always have. I think the problem that I see is that there's no planning. Nobody
Yeah,
does any
that's true.
planning for the car. And so when you haven't planned for a vehicle and then it's time to buy one because of some catalyst like an accident or a hailstorm, it's a big shock. Just like I guess anybody that was looking to buy a house back in 1970, they couldn't believe it
Yeah.
was $19,000.
Well, it's like today, like I look at what I bought my house for and what I could sell it for, and it's shocking. Apparently, there's been a 480% increase in prices in the last 50 years. So
For houses,
overall, that's
for
inflation.
everything.
That's just inflation.
Yeah.
And prices, they increase more rapidly, I think, than we anticipate. And so it's important to plan to make sure that, if you need another car in 5 years, well, the prices could be significantly higher just because of inflation for no other reason, even if you don't want a different kind of car or something fancier.
And I find that the argument is always about, should we spend our life trying to figure out how to reduce the prices? Or should we spend our life trying to figure out how to plan to be able to obtain the things that we need in order to survive?
Right.
Where do you fall? Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's important to try to balance between the two. That, like, there are certain things that are not important to me. So I was trying to think of an
A
example.
car.
Well, yeah, I don't care that much about cars. That is true. So I usually look for the least expensive
You're the
option.
perfect example.
Yeah.
She doesn't care much about a car.
No.
You got the least expensive option with the most equipment you could get.
Right.
You didn't
exactly.
fall in love with the car.
No, I never fall in love with cars. I just look for, especially since I'm leasing them, I don't, 2, 3 years, I don't care. As long as it gets me
Yeah.
where I'm going and doesn't cost too much to run, I'm pretty happy. But there are things I care a lot about, like where I live
Hmm.
or whether or not I'm reasonably healthy. So I do think it's important to consider your priorities when you're planning because you don't want to have to just devote all of your energy to making sure you have more money. But on the other hand, it is definitely possible to to plan for having more money to have the things that you want. You just have to figure out what those things are.
Here's a fact: if you are always going to buy a Toyota,
Hmm.
you might find yourself buying, I buy new Toyotas, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, there's so much money, I'm going to buy a used one,
Hmm.
and then you're not as happy with the results over time. All I'm saying is, if you're not in love with your car, you don't need to be in love with your car.
Hmm.
You can probably make a different decision and make it more affordable. So you can do this both ways. Like, you can depress that
Hmm.
money if you let go of this love of the Toyota or do something else. If you want to just buy Toyota and Lexus for the rest of your life, that number is going to continue to increase. And on the used market, it is super high. That is one of the markets out there that's, I think, unreasonably inflated right now.
There are some interesting little things like that. That I mean, you're right that the Toyotas I tell people about. It was a Honda. It's Honda and Toyota.
Yeah.
So somebody came to me one time and they said, "Oh, we have $15,000, but we must have a Honda." Did I find one? Yes. Did it have 3 accidents and was missing the front bumper? Yes. So
I don't remember that.
I didn't sell it to them,
Okay.
but
Oh,
it was
you found it, but you didn't
I was
sell
like,
it
I'm
to him.
not going to sell that car.
Yeah, I was like, I hope we didn't sell that car to
No, no,
somebody.
we did not. But that's what happens when like if you're really stuck to a particular feature or you're stuck to a particular brand, then you're going to pay more for it. That's
That's
how that generally
exactly what I'm
works.
saying.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to continue to spend 15 grand, you can help yourself by actually looking at different options.
right.
You're spending less than $15,000 leasing a car for 3 years.
Oh yeah,
I'm not even going to tell them the number. It is a
it
stupid
was
low
stupidly
number,
low. Yeah,
and so you can figure this out without having to put yourself in a position. I think we do this to ourselves.
mhm.
I have to have Nike, or I have to have this, or I have to have that. And I tell you what, at 55, I find myself branded to Samsung, and stuff like that. But I'm always wondering. I wonder if I'm missing something. Like, is there something out there that'll do just the same thing, and I'm overpaying for this when I could just be using that Apple phone or whatever?
Yeah, there often is, and that's part of the psychology of marketing. It's very interesting how we fall in love with brands, and that becomes something that we absolutely have to have. My favorite examples are when you go to the drugstore and you want to buy aspirin,
Yeah.
and so you can buy like the branded aspirin with Bear or whatever with all the fancy stuff, or you can buy the Kroger brand, and the prices are very different, but it's
Flonase comes
basically
to
the same
mind.
thing. Yeah.
Flonase at Costco. They have they have both at Costco. They have the Flonase, they have the knockoff Flonase.
Hmm.
And I've gotten so used to using the knockoff Flonase, I can't tell the difference.
No,
And I
no,
don't even know how
no.
much money I'm saving, but it's quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. That so you've determined that it's not important to you in that particular case to have the brand name, but maybe in some things it is important to have the brand name.
Let's talk about this, Bonnie. So I understand, and my heart and empathy always goes out to people who want to spend that 15 grand on Toyota and keep it forever. You hear that, right? I want to keep
Yeah,
it forever. This is it. I've saved my 15. I want to keep it forever. The issue happens when it doesn't last forever.
right.
And all I'm saying is it okay if we can teach people how to just make a plan? And then, here's another thing about the plan. I hope you don't have to use it.
Right.
I just
Right.
would like you to be prepared, because most of my time dealing with issues is when someone has paid off a car and they haven't had a payment for 5 years.
Right.
And now the payments are 20% more. They don't understand it. They paid 19,000 for their house. The most they've ever spent is 15, and then the average car price now is $45,000.
Right.
And it's very difficult to have that conversation. And so you start rationalizing it.
Hmm.
I'll just get one with 150,000 miles on it. It's like,
Right.
100,000 miles used to be the pinnacle of what anybody would buy.
Yeah.
That was the end. And now they're like, well, it only has 150,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's
that's
true.
not the right answer. It's like, let's just plan for it, and you can have it written down in a safe and act
Yeah.
on that. You can take control of it instead of being a victim to the marketplace, right?
Right. And that's something we can help you do because we buy and sell a lot of cars. So we know what's going on in the market. You want to hear the most interesting thing that I came across recently?
Let's hear it.
So, you know, all those EVs that are out there. So the battery warranties are 7 to 10 years. Well, what happens to them after the warranties go away, after the end of the warranties? So it turns out that the batteries just degrade slowly. And so where like maybe your new Ionic got 300,000 or 300 miles to the charge, your 10-year-old Ionic only gets 100 miles to the charge. So who's going to buy those cars?
I don't know.
Teenagers.
Oh,
Teenagers. Except the thing is that now the car is way newer than the cars that they were buying before, but it's not worth as much because it doesn't get as many miles and there's no warranty anymore on the battery. So there we may see a situation where teenagers end up buying newer cars because of this battery issue. They have newer safety features and ultimately they're safer drivers and they're used to it too. So when time comes to buy a new car, they're completely content with an electric.
so you think it's a good thing?
I think it definitely like there's a good and a bad side to it, and but it's important to see the silver lining.
That is interesting. I
I
like
just
that.
find that super interesting that like if you're in the $4,000 car market, well, right now a Nissan Leaf, like a 5 or 8 year
Nissan
old
Leaf.
Nissan Leaf might
Yeah,
be a good option for you, and it's way newer. It's got the new safety technology,
right on.
which you're not going to find on your 20-year-old Toyota.
Right. I mean, that's something to think about, right? If you're out there looking for a $4,000 car, then being into a Nissan Leaf might work for you,
Right.
even though it only gets 75 miles. How
Hmm.
far does a teenager need to go?
Exactly. If you're just going to school or to work and back, it should be fine.
Right. Okay.
So it's things like that. We know about those things.
The rise of the $1,000 car payment, we're only seeing it in trucks,
Trucks and big SUVs,
big
yeah.
SUVs.
Luxury cars.
I
That
think that the message we're trying to send today is get ready. It's going to happen whether you like it or not.
yeah.
Things are inflating. And us two are not sitting here inflating the prices of cars.
No, we have no control
We're just
over
in the
it.
industry
Yeah.
and we're trying to explain it to you so that you can digest it and go through those stages where you can understand how you can actually act on it instead of like I think, just having to react to whatever the market is bringing you.
Right, right. That and we're happy to help you do that. And you can come in and talk to us. You don't have to buy a car. There's no obligation. We're happy to help you. We're happy to use our industry and knowledge to help you.
Yeah. Anything else you want to chat about in this video?
No, I think that's good enough.
All
That's
our
all the
details are
information
in
I
the
got.
bottom. Please look us up. If you have questions, you can reach out at any time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.